Welcome back. Welcome to the ending of Thronebreaker, I think.
The castle of Rivia now loomed before the Lyrians. Water surrounded it on 3 sides, and dual defensive walls studded with podgy turrets completed its perimeter. It was famously difficult to take, and had changed hands only once, a few months before, when traitors opened its gates to the Nilfgaardians. Foreign banners waved upon the walls. The Golden Sun and General Epdahi's crest on Rivia's walls. The walls of home. There was somber silence among the troops, the glee and pride of many triumphs suddenly gone. For each knew if the Queen ordered an assault, most would lie dead by sunrise.
Your Majesty,
Began Reynard in a reassuring tone.
we needn't strike quickly. We've time on our side. To prepare would be wise. 2 months, I wager. Perfectly enough. We stop supplies from getting through. They'll capitulate, I've little doubt. Or at worst, be too weak to defend the fortress.
Reynard's reasoning was sound. There was no need for urgency. Meve had the upper hand for the first time in this war.
These invaders have grown fond of Rivia Castle,
Said Meve.
so let them stay and rot. Reynard, erect road barricades and guard posts between city and citadel. Gascon, seize all boats, barges, anything that floats. Stop anything from entering from the lake. Move!
Soon Rivia Castle stood isolated from the world outside its walls. All roads leading to it were blocked, impassable. Fishing boats, a cordon, embraced the fortress on Loch Escalot. The lanterns on their bows glowed like fireflies in summer. Then, an emissary from the castle brought a message for the Queen. General Epdahi wished to meet, face to face, and half the way between the citadel and the Lyrian camp.
Well, some general.
Smirked Gascon.
We've barely snapped the trap shut, yet he's already shaking in his knickers.
Be on your guard, Mother.
Said Willem.
Epdahi I know better than anyone here. The man always has a trick up his sleeve.
We've a few of our own. Sleeves and tricks. But I thank you for the warning and concern.
Meve proceeded to the meeting point without delay. A lone rider soon appeared on the horizon. He came adorned in rich black robes, their golden trim shimmering in stray sunbeams. She'd seen him before, in Edirn, through the megascope.
You came as I requested. Good. Very good.
I couldn't possibly refuse such a courteous invitation, especially as compared to your previous missive. The art of diplomacy, you've improved your grasp.
Your realm fell quickly. I expended little strength in seizing it. This left me much time to study. But please, we must set aside this bitterness. I'd like to formally welcome you to Rivia, dear Queen.
I see you've readily adopted the role of gracious host in my home.
In point of fact, I've grown fond of the castle. Fortifications impressive, atypical of the north. Not so your brave soldiers, whom we shall pick off like ducks. I pity them, in fact.
Dry your eyes, General. Rest easy. I've no plans for a quick assault. I shall first wait to hear the rumbling in your bellies.
Remarkable. You truly believe you can win this war? I've not been in the north long, but have discovered something all the same. You don't grasp complex ideas. You know Nilfgaard is large, but your minds don't fathom its enormity. You see, for every army you defeat, another will come to take its place. One larger and better equipped than the one before. Even now, as we so pleasantly chat, Army Group East is en route to lift your siege.
Then I'll face them on the field and smash them to pieces.
Due to arrive tomorrow. And do you know what will happen when they do? They will crush you against your own castle's walls, like the maddening flea you are.
A charming analogy, but get to the point. Why'd you ask for this meeting?
For this very reason. I wish to see you with my own eyes.
They did not see enough in Edirn? Are you such an admirer of feminine beauty?
You flatter yourself. No, in you, I see an animal. Game. Prey. And as the hunt's due to start soon, I needed a more detailed image of the beast I'll be looking for.
You? On a hunt? Those delicate hands have never held spear or bow. Nout sharper than a letter opener, I wager. Tomorrow you will not be on a hunt. Tomorrow you will be at war. You best pray to all your gods you don't find me.
Without awaiting a response from General Ep Dahi, Meve pivoted and turned toward camp. Her pace was quick, despite a heavy heart.
So... Okay, so... with regards to all of this, well, let's just put it in a simple way. The final battle is a nightmare. Most of the battles in the game, vast majority of them are cakewalk, with easy decks. This one isn't, so I had to redesign my deck. What have I gone for? Well, about too many cards I think, but I've gone with 3 Arathusa Adepts, maybe I should get a few more. 5 Lyrian Scythemen, 5 Arbalists, 3 Ballistas, though maybe I should get rid of that. Hard to say, really. Actually, I will. And maybe get more disciples of Arathusa. At least I'm gonna do something with all the cards that I've picked up, right? Regiment drummers, etc. I'll need two more of these. Okay, 30. Maybe I should get rid of Knickers. Yeah, it's a card anyway. And I've changed some of my cards and all that. I'll keep the spear though as a weapon.
Meve's closest advisors already awaited her in the command tent. In a few brief words, the Queen gave a report of the meeting, only with great effort masking the quavering in her voice.
An army, an immense one, approaches from the west. If we meet in open battle, we stand not a chance.
Damn it! Why did no one warn me?
Our scouts were discovered, captured. It must be that.
Yes, it didn't seem right. Our way so clear, so untroubled.
We must flee? Not at all heroic, I admit, but sure as hell better than being trampled into the dirt.
Easily said, but for a problem. Our force is chiefly infantry. The army that draws near includes cavalry, several regiments. We cannot hope to escape them. We cannot hope to hide.
What do you advise?
We've 2 options. Capitulate,
Out of the question.
or take the castle. Tonight.
Reynard, you know me. First into the fire, and ever eager to draw Imperial blood. But that would be madness. The castle can't be taken by conventional assault, if at all. And to have but 8 hours in which to do it? No.
Rivia's walls are unassailable, I fully agree. But there's more than one way to take any fort, and this fort too.
I think I like where this is going.
I know this citadel like no one else. I know its one potential weakness. The boat landing.
Wait. That narrowest of piers between the 2 turrets? The one where the fishermen would land?
The same. As I'm sure you recall, Your Grace, at that narrow pier's end stands a narrow door leading straight into the fortress. A small detachment could approach unnoticed, overwhelm any sentries, and get inside.
What then?
They would need to pass through the fort to the winch in the guardhouse, open the gate for the rest of the force.
That is... suicide!
Perhaps, but as options go, we have it alone.
And I'm to choose to send folk there? Most certainly to die.
You needn't choose anyone, for I volunteer, and will take only those willing to do the very same.
Bloody wretched plan.
And you've a better one, do you?
Of course. I'll go instead.
Beg your pardon? I don't.
Face it, Reynard, you couldn't sneak past a corpse. Sound like a bloody tambourine in that armour. Apart from which, you're Meve's right hand. So you ought to be by her side when the fighting starts.
It's a suicide mission. Whoever I send will die. Reynard or Gascon. Fuck you, CD Projekt. All this effort, all this time leading to this moment, right? Well, I guess a decision has to be made. Reynard.
Gascon. The winch for the main gate. Where exactly is it?
Somewhere in that general area would be my, educated guess.
Reynard?
In the left side tower, upper floor, behind a steel grate.
That settles it. Your readiness I value, Gascon, to be sure. But Reynard will lead this assault.
I thank you for placing your trust in me, Your Grace.
It is I who thank you for all you've done. God speed you on your way, and please, don't get killed.
Reynard had little trouble finding volunteers. In fact, more troops came forth than he could possibly take. They set off in the dark toward the castle, the light of its lanterns blurred by the evening mist. Meve watched anxiously as the boats glided away, her heart pounding in her ears. All depended on this mission. The fate of her realms, perhaps all the North, the lives of her troops, and her own. Now there was naught she could do but wait.
Good luck,
She whispered, gazing at the fortress walls, cloaked by the dark that seemed to surround all now.
Alright then. Task was simple. Sneak through the castle, defeat the guards defending a winch, barricade themselves in the tower, and open the gate for the advancing Lyrian army. And then, no one spoke of what would happen next. There was no need. So they would all die. Alright. There's the puzzle. Deploy here.
We must trust each other!
Actually, I may have screwed up.
Oh, Meve.
Yeah, let's try again. Yep. Here.
Company! Forward march!
Long live me!
War, you dirty tart. The winch! Look to the winch!
Alright, gotta get that winch. If I... I've got in there. Hold on. Oh, I screwed up. What? Alright.
Oh, Meve.
Alright. I should have used the card on that one. But I get the gist of this idea.
Her Majesty is...
Can't afford to...
Except... Oh, Meve.
Yep.
Her Majesty knows what she's doing.
War, you dirty tart. Back to the dust whence you came!
The winch!
Look to the winch!
Every rib's a thief.
Done. The way is
The
open.
Lyrians prepared for battle, their silence absolute, in darkness, illuminated only by the pale light of the moon. Meve was restless. She paced nervously in a circular pattern, awaiting the signal they'd agreed upon.
Blast, it's taking long. Much, much too long.
Finally, a torch's faint glow appeared atop the towering walls. It disappeared, then glowed again, and one more time around. Meve leapt in the air, and as she did so, barely stifled a cry of utter joy.
They made it. It worked. Willem, it's time. Sound the horns. Attack!
Moments later, Lyrians in the hundreds burst from the trees. The Nilfgaardian defenders loaded their catapults and ballistae. They did so slowly, convinced the castle walls remained impenetrable. Then they heard chains, grinding and clinking, and the sound sent shivers down their spines. Bewildered, they watched the main gate rise as the attacking force rushed forth. General Epdahi dispatched an elite unit to take back the winch at once. Yet he saw this was in vain and all was lost when Meve rode into the castle courtyard. Meve had begun the day known as a great warrior. Yet by night's end, legend was the cloak she wore. Her shield stopped powerful blow after blow as her blade found gaps in her foe's black armor. At first, Nilfgaardians scoured the fray in search of the queen, hoping to prove great heroes. Soon, she was their chief scourge, and they began to flee before her blade that sung their death.
Retreat! Retreat!
What was this extraordinary vigor that surged through Meve? Naturally, she wished to liberate her castle and realm, drive off the invaders, defeat the arrogant General Epdahi. But in that moment, above all else, she longed to fight her way through to the guardhouse and bring Reynard's party relief.
Follow me! Move! Move!
As she stepped through the door into the tower, the silence told Meve she'd arrived too late. Reynard's men lay slaughtered in pools of their own blood. The man himself sat with his back against a wall, clutching the broken spear shaft protruding from his chest. Meve tore off her cloak and pressed it against him, desperate to stem the bleeding.
Help's on the way. Please hold on. Please.
I'm sorry. Yet this one time,
Wheezed Reynard.
I can't do as you command, my queen.
Medics on the stairs in the guardhouse, steps away, heard a long, blood-curdling wail. They entered the room to find the queen kneeling, pounding the wall with her fists, her eyes flooded with tears. Reynard lay motionless beside her, covered by her cloak. The queen rose, her fists clenched, her shoulders rigid, her knuckles white. Her face betrayed no sorrow, no despair, just rage, hot as a forge, immeasurable.
Now's not the time to mourn.
Seethed Meve, struggling to stay calm.
Now's the time for war, for slaughter, revenge. With victory today, we'll recover our home, return to our kin and set our blades aside at last. Yet until victory is ours, they must drink. Drink greedily of Nilfgaardian blood!
The Lyrians were at the brink, near their breaking point. They'd followed Meve for thousands of miles, over snow-clad peaks, through forbidding swamps. They'd fought, survived countless battles at her side. And though their gazes were now weary, she knew they'd follow her into fire.
Your Grace, the Blackclads. They've holed themselves up in the upper keep. We went to breach the wall, alas to no avail.
Meve nodded, twirled her sword, then leapt upon a mount. Her eyes spoke pure determination.
So we'll bloody well try again.
They are not winning this battle. Alright. Unique cards may appear in your hand or deck. Really? Let's begin. Could easily discern a fear twisted face. Yeah. And Elf Guardians are afraid. Good. My deck is a bit different this time around. Alright then.
This is the end, Ebdahi. Do you hear me? I shall stick your head on a pike!
Oh, Lady Margarita told us of this.
Mm-hmm.
Then retreat! I must thank you. Your fortress has superbly solid walls.
Doubt I'll ever pay off these school loans.
Alright then. I'll play villain.
I know what I'm doing.
Do you now, boy?
Enough! I do not need to hear this. Kill her!
You say that.
This harvest, we'll be reaping black-clad heads.
It's not too late to walk away.
And just when you thought things were about to get dull.
Alright, that's a victory.
Fools! I'm surrounded by fools!
Yes, General, I'm afraid this time around you will lose. Alright, time to play every single sodding card.
As you wish, my lady.
I'll be playing the reinforcements card.
My spirit's willing and how, but these damn boots are killing me.
Alright.
Archers, let it be night. Obscure the sun with arrows.
You may say so.
There's a time to reap, a time to sow, and a time to die. There's a time to reap, a time to sow, and
How about that, you little bitch boy?
Left, right, left, right.
The Lurian banner will serve me well in this.
One bolt I need.
A dram of glue, a bit of soldering, a rivet or two, and it's good as new.
Again and again and
All right.
again.
Your turn, General.
Barbarians.
Oh, Lady Margarita told us of this.
I know, it's a shitty way to win, I'll be honest with you.
An army's a waste of time for one like me. Left, right, left, right.
I'm a won't say.
Wanna know why I got my scar?
In effect, the battle's won. There's no way they can win this. I mean, I would have preferred if it had lasted longer. But yeah. So I wait. Because believe me, this is gonna take a
to the front yet again.
Quiet, or the commissar will hear. Brach! Scheiß! In! Try!
Off to the front yet again.
Quiet, or the commissar will hear. I warned you.
A deck of Lyrian Scythemen, that was all that it took.
A highly curious case.
Where is he? Tell me where!
Honestly, I spent like an hour trying to get past this guy. Took a lot of trial and error, and then I just checked. It's like, what's the best deck? Lyrian Scythemen, just get overwhelming numbers on your side. That's.
Nilfgaard had the upper hand, yet the black-clad spirits had suffered. They now made more use of shields than of swords. When Meve finally broke through their line, they raised their arms in surrender. Rivia Castle had fallen. It was hers once more.
Trocker! Nein to win!
Meve showed her prisoners of war mercy, knowing full well they'd only followed orders. Death would be the fate of only Ardal ep Dahi, the one Nilfgaardian who'd issued those commands. Alas, the general had disappeared. A prisoner revealed Epdahi had fled as soon as the Lyrians had surged towards the upper keep. He had glided down to the lower castle in a wicker basket for transporting food. Curled up beneath potato skins and other scraps, he'd scurried away not unlike a common maggot. Meve cursed her luck and leaned back against a merlin. Dawn was yet a few hours off, but the horizon had already begun to glow blood red. The Nilfgaardian reserves now drew near, too late to prevent the castle's fall.
I'll get him,
muttered the queen, more to herself than anyone else.
I swear on all that's sacred I'll catch the bastard. But now we've a pressing matter to see to. Preparing the defense.
That night the war turned, with the battle for Rivia Castle as its fulcrum. Meve's great victory, not only retaking the stronghold in a single evening, but also fending off a further invading army, proved the Nilfgaardian Colossus had feet of clay.
It was a victory.
The armies of the north had united and now seemed to be on the attack everywhere. Imperial forces, while still far more numerous, lay stretched over thousands of miles. Their position was untenable, and Nilfgaard's commanders knew this. In a decisive battle, they yet stood a chance, so they gave said battle, and suffered a resounding defeat. Just a few months on from that memorable night in Rivia, the Imperial army was in utter disarray. Aldersburg, the fortress, remained a last point of resistance. General Epdahi and what had survived of Army Group East had dug in there. This place, where Nilfgaard had triumphed grandly in the war's early days, would now bear witness to its impending defeat. It seems history, after all, has a sense of justice, or humor, or both. Though Meve had already reclaimed her realm, she refused to retire her sword just yet. For King Demavend had requested her aid in purging Edirn of the invader. How could she refuse? She owed the king a favor, firstly. Yet she also had a burning desire to settle the score with Epdahi.
I spoke with Demavend's envoy. King's got Aldersburg surrounded, waiting on you to attack.
Splendid. I truly hate to miss it. Tell the troops to prepare. Gear, spirit, and bloodlust.
Actually, I think they'd rather hear it from you. Just don't sense much excitement among your lads when I'm giving them orders.
Forgive me. I'm afraid I forget.
That I'm not Reynard. Perfectly normal, I dare say. Man was your right hand. Likely need a bit to grow accustomed to his absence.
I think back to that night rather often. Perhaps I made a mistake. Perhaps he didn't need to die.
Of course he didn't. He might have surrendered. Meve, don't take this the wrong way. But the bloke was a thoroughbred soldier. He knew he could die. And I can't think of a more honourable, more beautiful death.
I suppose you're right. But a dear friend's death is, well, never easy. I'd imagined a time. The war would be over. Reynard would hang up his sword, settle down, start a family.
You know damn well he'd never do that.
Why ever not?
Meve, you had to see it, surely. Reynard was in love with you. He'd never have left your court or your side of his own free will.
But he never...
Course not. Difference in status, knight's honour and all that rubbish. Might have been different now, given the last moons, but... well...
The Queen turned away. She did not wish Gascon to witness her buried emotions laid bare.
We've talked enough. We must march on to Aldersburg.
It's the truth, though. If you're telling me... Finally. Oh. Fuck you. Screw you, game. Screw...
Look, 'tis Meve, slayer of the Black Lads. Long live the Queen! Just watch and wait. They say war. Just watch and wait. I wager you'll chase the Emperor himself off the throne.
Alright.
The Lyrian army had grown into a great serpent. So much so that riding at the column's tail, Niamh could not see its head. Footmen, cavalry, and archers stretched like a glistening snake between two horizons. Niamh had come a long way indeed, and she felt proud, as did Willem riding at her side. At first, the troops had eyed the prince suspiciously, if not with hatred. But they'd watched him fight for weeks now, and saw him as one of their own. Suddenly, Niamh heard angry cries and the clash of steel against steel, all at the column's front.
Those ranks! To the left! March left! Support the flank!
Niamh drew her sword, spurred her horse, and galloped forward along the line of troops. Then, through the swirling battle dust, she spotted shimmering golden suns.
Another battle. Well. It will soon be over, I suppose.
Surround them!
Once an ally is destroyed.
Armor won't save.
Yeah.
Hundred and 102, 103.
Aye.
Alright, and this.
152, 154.
Should have listened to me, old lady.
Maybe.
Scrubbing duty again? Oh, gods.
Oh, Lady Margarita told us of this.
New orders? No? Ah.
Okay. You little bitch. Well.
Doubt I'll ever pay off these school loans.
Then retreat!
Quick and painful this'll be.
Okay. Hey, it's not really an issue though.
This harvest will be reaping black-clad heads.
Oh, God!
Play every card.
The spirit's willing now, but damn boots are killing me.
Here's the thing about reinforcements. You'll always have it. Because it's a trinket.
Quiet, or the Commissar will hear.
Alright.
Scheiß! In!
Alright.
Mercy! Have mercy!
Normally disciplined, determined to an extreme, these Nilfgaardians quickly broke rank and ran.
Deserters! Leaderless, Your Grace.
A scout reported.
Headed south, they was, towards the frontier.
Chained prisoners now sat along the dusty road. Niamh stopped in front of one. He was ragged and unshaven. Flies had taken an interest in his poorly bandaged hand. Spotting the Queen, he lowered his head and quivered with terror.
I know you take us for savages,
Began Niamh, her gaze passing over several scraggy black-clads.
but fear not. We shan't flay you alive nor eat you for dinner. And when a truce is signed, you'll be sent home, where I most sincerely hope you'll stay this time.
As the Queen mounted her horse, she barely concealed a grimace. Her thighs were sore and chafed, her hands raw from the reins. But she bit her lip and rode on, for the prize was now very near.
Was in Aldersburg. Was in Aldersburg when it fell. Broke my heart, that did. But not complete. Now we'll take it back. Other kings could learn a thing. It was we who were to offer Lyria. Was in Alders.
Alright.
Yes, Mother?
We shall speak like...
Huh? What is it now?
The war nears its end.
Sadly,
Sadly, why?
I survived. Again. Rebuild your land, Queen. Enjoy your life. Me and my men, we'll be moving on.
Arnulf, in Lyria and Rivia, your past matters not. Nor does your shame. Stay.
What about after? What do I tell my ancestors when the time comes? I yearn to sit at their table, lass, and drink mead in their company, so go I must.
So long, Arnulf.
Hey ho, how's my favourite queen in the north?
Listen, I'd wish to speak again of...
Wait, I know what of, and you know it's a topic I'd rather not dwell on.
It won't help to let those thoughts fester.
And what would help? Barring a magical leap into the past, of course. Maeve, believe me, I've shed tears enough for my family. I've no need to think of it. No need to speak of it. And certainly not with you.
So, what awaits you now? What will you do?
Been contemplating it of late. Thought I might go back to the life of an outlaw. Not that I'd expect you to approve.
You're quite right, I wouldn't. It's why I wish to make certain you'll not feel tempted. Gascon, I hereby bestow upon you a number of estates near Scala.
What? Maeve? Damn it, I don't know what to say.
Ha! A first?
Thank you, Maeve. 1,000 thanks.
'Tis I who should thank you. With all my heart. It's time I attended to...
I'm pleased to see you again, Mom. You need something?
The war's near its end. The future, what does it hold for you, Isbel? Wise counsel will always find a place at my court.
A tempting offer, Mom. So be it. I shall stay. But I've one condition. You're never to force me to wear shoes.
Ha! These terms I can agree to. Duty calls.
Of course.
I have fought, and I have won. Well, I hope you're satisfied, Elder. Enemy army in tatters, fleeing south, moving chaotic, uncoordinated. Yeah. Such is the way of things. Victory cometh. The war is almost done. Brenna. Foltest pushed them out. How do I... Oh, well, there we go. Come on. Yeah, whatever. It's just a bit of treasure anyway. Seems a bit bugged. A cemetery.
The good mothers guided you to victory.
All right. There isn't much of a war
Neve
left.
was listening to a scout's report when screams suddenly burst from the prisoner transport. In a moment, Meve bore witness to a truly macabre sight. The Nilfgaardian captives to whom she had recently been merciful lay dead, massacred in cold blood among the camp's tents.
Blasted all.
Seethed the queen, looking at the bloodied corpses. Those responsible for the deed, peasants from the quarry at Ravencloft, Meve had welcomed into her ranks. The harm they'd endured from Nilfgaardians wielding whips, this was what had festered in their hearts and minds. The Rivians couldn't accept that their oppressors had gone unpunished. So they took matters into their own hands, in defiance of the queen.
There's fiends, not folk,
cried the peasants, now armed and in uniform.
They was owed this, plain and simple.
It had been justice by a mob, and Meve knew it should not go unpunished. Yet at the last, ignoring her advisor's counsel, she left the former slaves' fate for their commanders to decide. For the queen had grown weary of choosing between two evils, each one darker than the other.
All's left out. Long lit.
All right, I go on.
Meve noticed one of her scouts, a certain Corporal Larkin, halt his mount and train his gaze on the woods.
Your Grace, I thought I heard something. Could have sworn. A whisper, maybe, but... nothing now. It's all gone quiet. I think I might have imagined it, in fact.
Imagined?
Meve placed her hand on his shoulder.
No one has sharper senses than you. If you claim to have heard something, it's worth a closer look.
Corporal Larkin saluted, then rode past the trees. Suddenly in shadow, he keenly scanned his surroundings. Something caught his attention. He dismounted, then brushed aside ferns, exposing tracks made in the mud.
Your Majesty!
He shouted, quickly turning towards the road.
Sound the alarm! It's Scoia'd!
An arrow whisked through the air, pierced his throat, and suddenly silenced him. Then the forest came alive with cries in the Elder tongue. Elves on the attack.
Alright then. I grow weary of this nonsense.
It's a trap! 2 arms!
What are the elves gonna do?
Should have listened to me, old lady. This harvest, we'll be reaping black-clad heads. My spirit's willing and all, but these damn boots are killing me.
Death to humans!
When will you ever learn?
Hopefully I can actually use her before they destroy her.
Oh my.
Guess not.
There's a time to reap, a time to sow, and a time to die. I shall not fail!
As you wish, my lady.
I can probably kill one.
None shall tread on us! Give me a target.
Ha!
Everything all right?
All right.
Let us sing the song of steel!
Have strength, my love.
Damn it all.
Something from nothing? It's exactly what I do.
Our ballista, your command. Lyria! One boat's all I need.
Closer to a defeat than I'd have liked. But it's a victory nonetheless.
Renner! Stop! We surrender!
Surrender, you see.
The Scoia'tael fighters stood no chance against Meve. When the sounds of battle finally ceased, the Queen, victorious, tossed aside her arrow-studded shield. She then ordered the commando's leader brought before her. She'd expected a ranter who would turn up his nose, spit in her face, and cry, "Death to all Dwan!" But the bloodied elf before her was no arrogant firebrand. He averted his gaze, and his lips gently trembled.
Youthful you look, elf. How many summers to you? 30? More?
27, my lady.
27. A wonderful age. A shame to die so young.
I beg you, Renner. For mercy, I ask. If not for me, then at the least for...
Mercy? You jest. You wait in ambush, come at us like bandits, and now you dare ask for mercy.
It was no ambush.
Don't play me for a fool. I know what I saw, and I'm no stranger to warcraft.
It's not you we wished to fight. Sverre.
Then who killed Corporal Larkin, Werebubs?
When we saw you on the high road, we fell back and hid in the wood. We wanted you to pass. Your scout's hearing very keen. He heard something, then spotted our tracks. You must understand. We had no choice.
You know you might have surrendered.
Like Dristan's commando. Is that what you mean? They laid down their arms before an Edirnian general, who ordered them hanged. One and all. If we're to die, we prefer to die bows and swords in hand.
Why are you here? Were you to rescue Epdahi?
Rescue someone? No, Renner. We flee. The Nilfgaardians have realized they'll lose the war and have renounced us. Without their support, we stand no chance. Demavend has loosed his hounds. They hunt our units one by one. He's offered 50 gold pieces for the head of each Scoia'tael. It's the same in Temeria and Kedwen, if not worse. We wish to join with your Veth's unit, flee together as far as we could. It was our last hope.
Why do you tell me all this?
Because you listen still. You've not ordered me killed, so... You've clearly a heart. Eseth Aina Edu. I beg you. So few of us remain. All tired, all wounded. We pose no threat. Let us leave your realm. Let us flee.
Enough senseless killing for one day. So be it. You're free to leave.
I don't know how to thank you.
Make certain I don't ever regret this decision. 'Twould be thanks enough.
I thank you for your compassion towards me and all my folk.
Meve personally unfastened the prisoner's chains as her Lyrians looked on in silence. They did not approve, this was clear. Their displeasure was palpable.
Such is the way of things. And yet, I have come this far. Well,
We're building all anew. Treat yourself to our new view. For a better future through and through. First, everyone's doing their part to rebuild the homeland.
it's over at the very least.
It'd be an honor to fight at your side, Majesty. Side by side. Long live Eden!
Wait, did he just say Hyrule? Hold on.
It'd be an honor. Side by side. Long live Eden! Long live...
Hyrule! Fucking hell, is this nice one. Well, been a long and bloody road. Yorviv.
The Lyrian corps neared Aldersburg, and it could not have been on a more idyllic day. The sun shone, birds sang, trees rustled in a light breeze. But Meve saw it as she had at the war's start. Walls illumined by a fire's glow, the cries of fleeing civilians, the stench of burning flesh. As on that day, Aldersburg was under siege. Yet this time, Eden's flags fluttered in the field, while Nilfgaard's tattered sons crowned the fort's towers. The Queen found Demavend's tent without difficulty. Made of sheets of silk edged with silver thread, it positively shone.
Seems the realm's restored to a virtuous path,
muttered Meve.
Aha! There she is! Queen Meve, savior of the North, the Sun Slayer.
Mockery I don't appreciate.
I wouldn't dare. Not my words, those. You've been painted thus in song. Master Dandelion himself wrote a ballad, The Battle for the Bridge. If you take the bard at his word, you're as fierce with a blade as any witcher.
Is that jealousy I hear?
To be perfectly honest, Meve, it is. For I hadn't the pluck, nor resolve. And when all the North tucked tail, went to shite, you alone stepped up and bared your fangs. Let it be a lesson for the future to us all.
You called out the future. Tell me, how's your son?
Baldwin. Ah, growing like a weed he is. And a spitting image of his old man.
Good news all, especially given the mother's profession.
She's now Countess Demeretta of Gullet, a lady of the court.
Oh, your lawful wife must be thrilled.
Hard to say in truth. I've not seen her in some time. Duty keeps me away, you understand.
You work hard, I'm certain. Many a night, too.
You might say so indeed. But enough about me. As we're chirping away like two gossips in the field, do tell me, what a villain.
He's here with me.
Ah. In chains, perhaps?
No. In coronet and robes. We came to an understanding. What's past is past. A lesson for the future? What do you mean?
My dear, this war won't change a bloody thing, you know. Nilfgaard will be Nilfgaard, the North. We'll sign a truce, the Blackclads will turn tail towards home. But the old borders don't satisfy a soul.
I'm perfectly satisfied with them, thank you. And I just wish other folk would respect them too.
Eve. You're one hell of a warrior, but you're no strategist at all. Your perspective, you've got to broaden it. Nilfgaard, we cannot allow it to regain strength and spirit, else we'll face another invasion within a decade or two. Measures are required. Preventive, preemptive, whatever the learned call it. Build an army, a vast one. Wait in ambush. And when they least expect it, break their bloody spine. Just think, if we were to join forces...
Enough. I don't wish to hear it. Won't even entertain the thought. I'll help you take Aldersburg, but then I'll go home, where, God's willing, I'll live to a ripe old age.
I'm afraid that's not gonna happen, Meave.
As you wish. We can mount the assault at any time, but...
But?
My scouts report a small Nilfgaardian force approaching from the south. They've stayed off the roads, moved only under the cover of night, escorting someone.
Who?
I've no notion. Could be a mage. Devilishly unpredictable, that lot. Could wreak havoc in our ranks. Either way, before we rush at the walls, we must make certain they don't reach Aldersburg at all.
I shall see to it.
Are you sure? You've just arrived. Must be weary after the long journey.
An understatement if I ever heard one. But I wish all this to be over, quickly.
Niamh set out after the Nilfgaardians immediately, a cavalry escort in tow. Her unmatched scouts, who had led the army through the mountains of Mahakam and Angren swamps, quickly found the enemy's trail.
This way, Your Grace! There's not far now!
That very same day, Meave's force caught up to the mysterious black-clad unit. Lyrian riders surrounded the foe, forcing the Nilfgaardians to halt. All fell so quiet, the creaking of taut Lyrian bowstrings could be discerned.
The common tongue. Which of you knows it?
I do, Your Majesty.
You also know who you deal with, I see. What is your name?
Kaldvin, Your Majesty.
At last. A Nilfgaardian name I can pronounce. So, Kaldwin, it seems this war will reach its end in 2 days' time at the most. 'Twould be silly to die today, wouldn't you agree?
It would, milady.
Precisely. I've spilled enough blood. I've lost the appetite for more. So, provided you don't give me a good reason to kill you, you'll walk away with your lives. Now tell me. You carry something for General Ebdahi. What is it?
A letter.
Urgent to the point of insanity, it must be. Who wrote it? The dear Madame Ebdahi?
No, Your Majesty. The Emperor.
My. A letter from Emir himself. You must be an important person. A noble, or... Yet your uniform is simple, with no discernible distinctions. Who are you truly, Kaldwin? A spy?
A simple messenger, Your Majesty.
Don't lie. I know messengers, how they travel. Alone, armorless, atop a swift steed. You're escorted by cavalry of the heavy sort.
For I often carry orders the recipients don't wish to perform, thus the escort.
Give me the letter.
I've sworn to deliver it to General Ebdahi, or to die in the quest to do so.
Oh, very well. My translator shall read this letter, then return it to you. You shall break no vow, and who knows? You might even survive.
And if I refuse?
Guess.
So be it. I accept your offer.
Meave's translator cracked the seal and read. And as he read, his eyes grew wide as saucers. Then he whispered in the Queen's ear.
Truly, and you're certain you're not mistaken. The wonders of this world. Kaldwin, consider this your lucky day. I allow you to complete your mission, with one proviso.
And that is?
That when you hand him the letter, you will give the General my regards.
As Caldwin and escort set off towards Aldersburg, the Lyrian soldiers looked at their queen with disbelief. To leave a Nilfgaardian to fulfill a secretive task? Meve failed to stifle a rather mean laugh. They'll understand tomorrow, she thought. General Epdahi had prefaced Lyria's and Rivia's invasion with a series of arrogant demands. The Nilfgaardian had been impudent, as he had felt sure he'd achieve a quick and decisive victory. Yet several months on, he too received an ultimatum. One signed by Emperor Emir var Emreis himself. The missive was concise and left no room for interpretation. With General Epdahi dead, the Nilfgaardian army descended into chaos. The kings of the north, united, took advantage and struck at the foe. Their victory was complete. The Nordling forces cheered their commanders and monarchs, but for none so vehemently as the one queen among them. Many dream of achieving the impossible. Meve had done it. Through wit, determination, and boldness, she had thwarted the Nilfgaardian invasion. The queen would rule for many more years. Stern, yet ever just.
Ha! So a lass saved the North from the Blackclads?
That is one way to put it.
Well, I'll be damned. And a chap, she find herself one in the end?
Leave it be. Bloke's been spinning the tale all night. Story's done. Time we got some shut-eye.
Yes. Particularly as we've yet a long road before us.
Phew. Throat must be parched as old leather after all that. Except, I'm itching to know what happened to the lot of them. Reynard, Gascon.
Very well. Whom shall we start with? Willem? He worked hard to regain his mother's trust and respect. Took on many daring missions, regardless of the risks. The lad who Nilfgaard had wielded as a tool now sowed terror along its borders, and appeared a successor most worthy of Meve. Reynard was buried at Rivia Castle in the chapel. Laid alongside dukes and kings, droves of his soldiers bid him farewell. Fresh flowers appeared on his tomb each day. Thanks to whom, you might ask? I'd venture to say, you know. Having settled in Rivia, Gascon embarked on a life worthy of his noble origins. In doublet and ruff, he looked to his ample fields and livestock in daytime, attended banquets and feasts come the eve. And then one night, he grabbed his bow and quiver, saddled his favorite mount, and disappeared without a trace. Though Nilfgaard owed its defeat chiefly to Meve, in the Empire her name was uttered with utmost respect. Returning soldiers spoke in awed tones of her courage and generosity, referring to her as Gwaedin, the tenacious one. With the advent of peace, tensions waned. Lyria's and Rivia's disparate races seemed to live harmoniously, side by side. The Queen pressed for new laws aimed at curbing oppression. They were a step towards more enlightened rule, yet sadly were habitually broken. And Meve? As I said, she ruled with an iron hand, not fist, and with her son's unwavering support. She could now trust him again. A great victory, greater even than Rivia's liberation. And now, if you'd allow me...
Course. Leave him be, lads. Let him get some rest. Till the time comes for the next tale.
A victory. Worthy of song. I missed some golden chests, clearly, for some reason. That's weird. Nilfgaard was defeated. We went through hell. And back. Angren was a particularly nasty episode. Oh, finally. A good game. A really good game. At least story-wise. Outside of that, it gets tiring. It's exhausting. it drags on. It's got the same open world problems, quote unquote open world, as The Witcher 3 in that it's just very dull and very average. But it has a great story. Is it worth playing purely for the great story? That's a good question. With the option to skip battles. I mean, here's the issue. Even with this, even with the option to skip battles, it's still... I mean, it still would drag on for a lot. There's just... The issue here is that if you want to get the most out of the story, you want to play, obviously, on a... I guess I missed the chest in the last chapter. If you want to get the most out of the story, you obviously want to do everything, because that's, you know, part of the story. It affects certain things within the main story or certain characters. And thus, you want to explore. You want the completionist playthrough if you want to get everything done, or most things done. And I feel that's perhaps an issue. I think the game could have used less stuff in the open world, so to speak. But that's just where I stand. I think I'll do a full review at one point. There's a lot to talk about. But I like to just talk about something here. Meve is one of the very few protagonists in a video game that one can say, yeah, she's a great leader. Because she is. Military leader, political leader, whatever you call it. You can play her in a bad way, I suppose. Or you can play her as a naive fool if you so desire. But you can also play her as a great leader. And I think that's the protagonist you want in a game. Costin signing out. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, thank you all for watching, and stay tuned for more.